Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I'm Joshua.
And I, on behalf of our viewers/listeners, would like to ask, why do you keep leaving us? Is it something we said?
It is. It's something you did. Yeah.
All of us, or like me specifically?
Sleepy Reader. It's his fault.
Bro.
It's a thing that he did. We can't talk about it. I told him I wouldn't say. This is our weekly comic poll list review for June 6th.
No, July.
You're right. It was the 4th of June the other day. It was really exciting. We had fireworks and hamburgers and hot dogs.
It was better than the Cinco de Marzo.
Yes. Okay, well, this is a heavy week for us. I think with the DC stuff, they're just all going to be heavy weeks now.
Heavy.
Oh, heavy. So we have 6 titles. We're supposed to have 7. We again got shorted on Dreaming Eagles. They have ordered it for us now. So we will get 5 and 6 together sometime soon, supposedly. And then we will retroactively review them.
Sure.
So we have 6 titles here. We have Superman issue number 2, Batman number 2, Sheriff of Babylon number 8, The Fix number 4, Paper Girls number 7. This is just never ending. I guess it is ending, because here's the last one, Moon Knight number 4. All right, so let's start off talking about Superman number 2. This is Tomasi Gleason, Gray, and Kaliz.
So our boy takes his boy out Supermaning for the first time, and then we get a little bit where he's talking to the neighbor girl.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping for from Tomasi and Gleason, the father-son, teaching him the ways of Supermaning. I'll say I liked it quite a bit.
Well, that was a little cheeseball.
It was cheeseball.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So if that's what you wanted, I can understand. That it was just, there was a couple parts. I think it was like he fell out of the tree and then like immediately cut to a scene where she's telling him like you're going to have to like teach him to fly and stuff, and try to be all metaphorical about it. But it's like, no, that it's directly applicable to something that just happened.
It's true. That's a good point. Like you really just need to teach him to fly so he doesn't fall and hit his head again.
Yeah.
And it was cheeseball, but partially I just like the characters here. I really like not only how they act and who they are, but I like the Superboy character and how his powers are kind of working. He's got this crazy version of the heat vision, but he isn't invulnerable. Like it's a neat mix of like half Kryptonian. I think it could be a cool long-term character. And that has me excited, and I just like their interactions. I like this family and the way they interact. It is cheesy, but it's cheesy in an awesome Superman cheese kind of way.
So if that's what you're into, super cheese.
Yeah.
This is your book. Yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, I'm not like so upset with it that I would, never read it again. But I mean, do I think it's necessarily like on the level of most of the shit we read? Not really.
No, maybe not. I don't know. I have a soft spot for this kind of book.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I made you read Suicide Squad for forever. So.
Right.
So this is your Suicide Squad.
I guess so.
You got one.
I guess so. I like this above average. I don't think it's amazing, but I'd give it a solid 7.5, 8, somewhere in there.
Okay.
So artistically, there was a couple of really cool things. I opened right to one of them that I really liked.
Yeah, I like how he has like such a 1950s jawline in this. Like it's just very classic. It's like an apple pie eating face.
Yeah. It's somewhere between like Bruce Timm Superman and like the normal John Byrne looking Superman. I don't know if John Byrne Superman's normal, but in my head, John Byrne Superman is normal. It's like this nice mix somewhere in the middle that I think is really cool. And I just like his layouts and the way he draws the characters. It's very wholesome apple pie kind of stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, it's almost lacking in detail, I would say, compared to, a lot of its contemporaries, but I think that's one of the classic things about it. Like it feels vaguely Silver Agey.
I agree. All the way down to a giant tentacle monster with some sort of control
Yeah, it's
chip.
got a machine part in it.
Yeah, that's controlling it to attack the submarine. Yeah. All right, well, let's move on then. We got a big list here, so let's keep going. Let's talk about Batman #2. This is King Finch banning Mickey and Bel Air.
And the last issue, we got introduced to Gotham and Miss Gotham. So he's doing a little bit. I mean, we're introducing new people into the Bat family again, so there's that whole, do I trust them with this, do I trust them with that kind of thing going on. And yeah, there's some interesting plot points happening. Well, Solomon Grundy opens up the issue, and then we get the suicide scene. So, yeah, there's a lot going on.
From a story perspective, there was a lot that I really liked here. I liked some of the specific things that King's doing with this. Let me back up and say that issue 1, I was not here for that. Mm-hmm. I read it. I didn't like it as much as you guys did. I thought it was a little forced feeling. It definitely felt like a first issue.
Sure.
This one I liked a lot more. I loved the smoke. Solomon Grundy, he's running at him, and he's sitting like a ninja, like with the smoke.
Yeah.
Just stands up and flips him. I thought that was very Batman. I liked this whole thing where he's like, oh, you're 0.4 seconds short. Yeah. You need to be that much faster. It's so I like a lot about the Batman that he's creating. He addressed some stuff about rebirth here. I don't know if you noticed with Gordon. When he's talking to Gordon, he says, what's it like to fight under a mask? That must be weird. Mm-hmm. So they're signaling, telling us that the Gordon thing never happened now.
Sure.
So I like that, just because the Gordon thing was kind of stupid. Wasn't very good. Wasn't good for the characters. The whole
storyline is pretty lame.
Ooh, magic machine turns me back into Batman again, right? That whole thing was kind of dumb. So I'm glad that that's now erased from this storyline. We don't have to deal with any of that.
But I understand Tom King's like a pretty big fan of like the Snyder run, so I don't know like how he felt.
Of course he says
it.
that.
Yeah, that's true.
He was working with Snyder, so he's gonna say that he was a big fan of it, but who knows? I don't know. I'm not sold on Gotham and Gotham Girl yet. I hope that they fail miserably and it turns into a big ordeal.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to be like some sort of like train wreck that covers it.
And the writing for this issue also was much more Tom King than issue #1. Issue 1 felt to me like editorial mandates kind of thing. You show him rescuing from a plane, and
there's a lot of cool details and stuff in there.
There was.
That's the thing that I liked about it.
There was, but I like that this one is much pulled way down, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he fights Solomon Grundy. All he really does is grab him and flip him. He just like suplexes him, and that's Batman for the issue action-wise. And then the rest of it is just conversation and this building of a mystery, right? Of let's bring these guys in and talk to them and try to hash out and figure out what's going on.
Right.
I like that aspect so much better, and it makes more sense for Tom King to do like the detective aspects of Batman than big action scenes.
Yeah, it's like that, almost like a supernatural kind of mysticism around him. Like you were saying, like he was just sitting like a ninja, like waiting for this shit to happen. Like, how long had he been there?
Right, right.
He planned it like the whole time.
Yeah. He's been following him around, waiting for him to get into some shit so that he can, slide in and show how badass he is and save the day, right?
Yeah.
So
and then the bit about so they have like an enhanced vision, and he does like his disappearing thing, and they're like, oh, I have no idea like where the fuck he went. It's like, yeah, you don't, do you?
Yeah, that's how he works. So all that character stuff was really cool.
I did get the laugh of the week out of this when he says that he doesn't trust Alfred. He doesn't even trust Alfred. And Alfred says for his 10th birthday, he asked for a katana dueling blade. I got him a wakizashi, which seemed more appropriate for his age, and he's been this way ever since.
Yeah, Alfred. Tom King is killing Alfred. He writes him so good already.
He just subtly talks shit on him like the whole time, which is like fantastic.
Yeah, and he has that really dry British wit, which is fantastic. This is my favorite Alfred I've seen written in a long time. Already,
I agree. Like,
just
he
already
absolutely nails the character. It's everything I want out of Alfred.
Yeah,
so maybe
just
that's
a smarmy.
But other people want about him. But I want him to be like a smart ass.
Yeah, definitely. He's just too old for this shit, kind of guy. It's great.
And you also question, Batman's whole deal is like being one step ahead of everybody else, but it's like, is Alfred one step ahead of him?
Yeah, it kind of seems like it. At least when it comes to him, he's always a step ahead of him. Artistically, it looks cool. It's not incredible. The paneling, there wasn't really anything that amazing there either. It's just pretty straightforward. Yeah. Let's move on to another Tom King book. This is The Sheriff of Babylon, number 8. This is King and Jared's, whatever.
So they're still after the terrorist Abu Rahim, and a lot of this kind of goes around that.
Mm-hmm. This, to me, was really gripping in a lot of ways. I feel like this is a pretty pivotal issue in regards to telling us a little more about what's been going on and starting to connect the dots to show us how everybody's connected in a way.
Yeah, we get the huge backstory on Sophia and Nasir, which I thought was awesome.
This is another one where I read through like half the issue before I realized I was so enthralled with what was being said that I was totally neglecting the art. Some of the past issues have had just really like bang in your face art that you couldn't miss, but this one was a lot more subtle, more subdued and pulled back, and it was really a lot about the story, right? There was a lot of narrative and
completely
such.
appropriate, like, for this issue, because it was so dense with narration.
Yeah, there were multiple pages where I'd get to the end of the page and be like, oh, what the fuck am I supposed to be looking at? Like, I got to go and... Because a lot of it was storytelling happening over images of somewhere else, right? These people are talking, but you're seeing what's happening here.
Yeah, like, we get the backstory, and then, like, Nasir's just chilling in a pool or something, or it was on the beach.
Right, and I missed, a lot of what was going on with Nasir when I'm reading about him, and I'm like, oh, what? Let's, like, go back and actually see what he had going on, which was slightly different take on what's being talked about, it was the actual and such. Very cool issue. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a big fan. Also, Sophia's, like, phone conversation that took, like, 4 pages. Man, that was a nervous fucking thing to read.
Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck is she doing? What's going on here? And then it pulls back with the reveal and kind of shows you. I have to admit, though, that those 4 pages, I couldn't help but think, like, oh, is this artist deadline sort of situation? Like, he drew one panel and then just sort of copy-pasted it, and with changing expression on her face. So he got like...
what you do it.
He really got like 4 pages out of just this one little like 1/12th image that he just redrew over and over again. But it has a cool effect of creating that tension. So maybe it was just lazy, but it may just be that he really felt like you would create a lot of tension by giving you this same fidgety image of her just standing there having to have this conversation, which I think it achieved that. But I couldn't help but think like, oh, so many people are going to give him shit for this.
For sure. Yeah, I think the fact that it doesn't really show anything else, and it's super tight on her too, so you don't know, like, even where she is, like, let alone like where he is or what he even like looks like. We still have like no idea where he is. We don't know shit. Yeah. Really well written issue, continuing the tradition of this thing being awesome. What do you like better, this, Vision, or Batman? Because we're reading all 3 of those for the show. It's between this and Vision. And I feel like Batman may like eventually get up there.
It could get there.
It's so fresh, Man, that's hard. Yeah. I don't know if I can say. They're great in like completely different ways, which I think really speaks a lot about King himself, that he can still have a distinct voice while writing in 2 or 3 very distinct other voices. Very distinct different styles and voices. Yeah, we have like a sci-fi, we have this war Western, journal, Western, and then we have like superhero, right? And he's killing them all. Yeah, and it all feels like Tom King. And it's the crazy thing about it. Yep. Yeah. It's almost like the Mark Waid. Right. Yeah. Right, yeah. He's going places. All right. Yes. Onward and upward. Or, I don't know, lateral move. The Fix number 4, Spencer Lieber, Hill, and Shaw. Laterally. This one we get a lot about pretzels. We get Mac is what we get. Yeah. Which was surprising and cool. Yeah. It's a lot about Mac. A lot about pretzels. So, up until here, I really felt like other dude, Rob. Is it Rob? Nate? Some simple other name. I really felt like the other guy was supposed to be the star.
right? And that Mac was just like a bit character. But now we get a full issue on Mac, and now they're more of a partner duo kind of thing. I really liked this. I thought it rounded him out really well. It was as funny as the others, I thought.
Yeah. I saw something on Spencer recently where he said he doesn't like long form plot out his shit at all. Like it's just all in his head, and he just writes an issue like as it comes. So I could see this being kind of a Nick Spencer, like, well, I need an issue for this, you know, and I'm not really ready to move into that, so maybe I can just kind of sidestep a little bit. But he always like does it so successfully that you can't really like discredit him for it, you know. I mean, the only time that I thought maybe it came off a little bit weird was when we get that whole issue in Ant-Man about his daughter, which just didn't really have like the same feel as the other issues. Like it just didn't quite live up to the standards, but it was still a good issue and it accomplished a lot. So like, what can you say?
Yeah. Well, this one, man, and he also introduced a new character that I really liked, the guy that was coming in on the plane. Yeah. That was just methodically brutal, you know, just another sociopath. Yeah. But there's little things about the way he writes his characters. One thing I've noticed is the main characters always speak in terms of we. When they're talking about like their life and how it went, he has this thing where he always has them say, we grow up like this and this happens to us. Yeah. Like he brings you in.
Relatable.
But not with necessarily relatable things. So it really gives you this idea of their sociopathy, right? That they just assume, like all these characters just assume that everyone else is like them. There's nothing wrong with me, you know?
And see, the thing is, a lot of the things, like when they say we, it's very like simple human things that somebody, I think most people could relate to on some level. It's just the extent that they take it to.
Their version of it is fucked.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we fall in love, but he's, you know, his version of falling in love is some whacked out,
it's
fucking weird version of it, right? Like everything that happens is just amplified for them. But I feel like this is a major theme, though, in here where all of the characters feel like they're totally just normal. Like,
anybody would.
There's nothing wrong with me, right? But they're all fucking crazy. Josh comes back into it again. They're crazy ass like vegan hippie boss.
Yeah, this rescue pit bull.
That's like he uses to like terrorize people.
Yeah,
but then
he rescued them and so that he could use them to fucking like
Yeah, but then all the other times they're in sweaters and eating organic dog treats and all
going down the slide at the park.
Yeah, but then murder that guy, please. Great character. Just this is all about the characters and the humor that comes from rounding out characters in real ways that otherwise have very unreal characteristics, right? You take some extremes and then put them on a normal person, and you kind of get the idea here, I guess. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've liked it since the first issue. So
artistically, what do you think there?
I think there was some cool perspective in it. But the paneling was pretty standard, and the artwork itself was like pretty standard. So
yeah, agreed. There wasn't too much to write home about really with the way it's drawn. It's mostly, again, visual humor. There's a lot of good visual humor. Yeah. Which I've noticed in a lot of the stuff Spencer, like his artists tend to...
That's what he looks for.
He tends to work with people that put in a lot of visual humor. So I wonder if it's him dictating, the visuals a lot more. I'd love to see some Nick Spencer scripts. Does anybody have links to any Nick Spencer scripts? I'd love to see that. Yeah. See if it's him telling them, this is the joke, the dog's in a sweater, or if it's just he works with artists who like to do that kind of thing. Let's talk about Paper Girls number 7. This is Vaughn, Chang, Wilson, and Fletcher.
So they continue investigating this memory. We get a facsimile of one of the characters. It's apparently one of the otherworldly beings. I like how she speaks very matter-of-factly.
This is my favorite issue of this yet.
It's really good.
Like it. This series we were both kind of on the fence about. I think I liked it a little more than you at the start, but we were both kind of
for the first 5 issues or so, I think.
Yeah, but it's really starting to come together for me. I really like them in modern time now, like these kids from the 80s put into now, and it gives him this opportunity to talk about like expectation of like, so really what we're talking about here in this, what he's getting at is people our age, what we were expecting as children
versus reality.
Versus what we now have, and whether or not that was a letdown, if our reality is better than we thought it would be, where did we achieve, where have we not. There's a lot of that in here, and I really like that about it. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think the standard, like, taking characters from, like, a past time and putting them in present day has been, like, so fucking done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's done it very craftfully, which is, I think, what really gets me about this. I mean, it's just like everything has a purpose, and everything, like every examination of, you know, then versus now gives you more insight into the character themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, it also does a good job of, like, truthfully representing, I feel like, what it would be like, right? Like, the things that you would think people would think were amazing aren't that great, but the things that we take for granted are the things that are immediately obvious to somebody from that time.
HDTV.
Right, the HDTV, or they're on their bikes down the street and like, look at the square car, like, right. You know, like just these things that we don't really care about, or would obviously be the things that are most obvious to someone from the 80s, and I think that care really helps sell it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that truthfulness of reaction sells it for me, at least. They're less interested about like big picture stuff and more surprised by just little obvious shit, right?
Yeah, and it's not your typical, like, they discover something, it's like, oh yeah, this is this and this and this and this, and you just tell them about it. It's a lot of the time it's them, like, discovering it for themselves.
Right.
You're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, look at that thing.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
Right, yeah. And then that's it. That's all you get. You know?
Right,
so.
Right, he doesn't linger on it, just move on, right? Other than that, the story is still fucking bizarre. I still don't really quite get it, but I like that he's starting to build a cohesive idea to where I can at least start making guesses at what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is probably going to be one of those, like, Brian K. Vaughan epic crazy town things that he goes on from time to time. So when it started, I think we didn't know if it was going to be a limited series or not, but you can see this one probably going on for like a long fucking time.
I hope it does. I hope we get years of this. I think it will be better the longer it is. Mm-hmm. You know, this is something that if he has to wrap it up too soon, I think we'll lose a lot. Artistically, I love the way it looks. I think
a lot of it, again, is just the paper is so goddamn nice.
It is. You're right.
Yeah.
But there's just a simplicity to it that I like, and it just looks drawn. I have a big love for things that look drawn, that feel less real and more artistically created, if that makes sense. You know, I mean, that's why I love Scotty Young stuff so much, because it's just, he's not trying to be realistic. He's trying to be impressionistic in a way, right? So I really like that about this book as well. It's one of my favorite parts of it.
Definitely, yeah. If it was like shiny digital shit, it would be fucking weird.
Yeah,
so.
and it's not super cartoony either. It doesn't look like a web comic or like Hark of Vagrant or something. It's this weird, awesome middle ground where it's just realistic enough to put you in a weird mindset where you're not looking at real people, but you're not looking at cartoons either. Yeah,
it's just a little bit more realistic than cartoon, but not to the point where it's like detailed.
Yeah, they still have weird round faces, and you know, it's a really cool balancing act he's doing. All right, talking about like cool balancing acts, let's talk about Moon Knight number 4. This is Lemire, Smallwood, and Belair again. Belair working across the aisle.
And by the way, on the cover, that's totally fucking Greg and his wife Tiffany. So he's a vain son of a bitch for drawing them.
That's awesome.
Making out on the cover of the 4th issue. So they're out in the town and trying to make sense of shit, and they lose somebody. And
well, are they out on the town? First of all, this thing is so fucking weird.
Well, they encounter like a police officer.
Do they?
Yeah.
I mean, for real though, like, I'm not so fucking sure what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, and I like that that's maintained. Like, I keep expecting it to get dropped, and it just doesn't. Like, even the end of this issue, like, reinforces the what the fuck.
Right, yeah, which we won't spoil, but it's good.
Yeah,
I like
it's a good reveal.
Yeah. But yeah, it just keeps getting more fucking weird, right? Every time, like you said, every time I think that they're about to solidify a little bit, it just goes fucking weird again, right? And some of it, and it's not questioning. I think that's my favorite part. Like, they're not really questioning too much in here from a writing standpoint. Lemire, is this real or is it not? Like, it's from the perspective of reading it, or from at least Mark Spector's perspective, it's real.
Yeah.
But it's fucking not. You know what I mean? Like they just happen upon her diner across the street from the asylum or whatever.
Yeah.
No, that can't be right? Like, it's all this obvious shit, right? And then he's sitting down eating pancakes, like, there's my diner. Now you're eating pancakes. And now she's in an apron, right?
Yeah, like she just walked in and like put on an apron and started like...
Right.
Yeah, but nobody else is there.
Yeah, it's super wacky and weird. So some crazy shit's going on, and I love that about it.
Yeah. Artwork, what'd you think?
Still the best thing at Marvel.
Yeah, definitely. I think we always come back to how the paneling is like consistently cool. You know, it's not like... you know, this page out of this issue, or, you know, this sequence out of this issue. Like, every page, really, you get something cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just, there's so much negative space, and it works so well for this character, because it just makes everything feel thrown in. Like, it's not together.
Yeah.
Right? Panel to panel.
Kind of.
Yeah, panel to panel is not connected properly. It's just, now you're here. Now this is happening. Now they said this, but it's not a proper, like, from A to B kind of situation, which, and all that negative space lets him do these little, like, he'll do these little panels just on its own, and at that time it then pulls it in and, like, puts you in his head. Like, it's just so well done. It really helps sell the psychological nature of it, I think. Yeah,
definitely. It's the perfect artwork for the book, I would say. If it was any more standard, I think it would detract greatly from... Yeah, so I'm glad that he has someone that can keep it fresh like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll go so far as to say this is my favorite Moon Knight artwork. Maybe not specifically issue number 4, but so far this run with Smallwood, I think, is the best Moon Knight work I've seen. It is the most fitting for the character.
Yeah, I haven't read, like, a ton of Moon Knight. I mean, I really like it and stuff. It's the best, like, out of the stuff that we've read for the show, which is the extent of the Moon Knight that I've read. So
right, and I've actually read quite a bit more. I like Moon Knight. I think he's a cool character.
He's a cool character. Yeah.
A lot of the art is not cool. It's just acceptable, and this is great.
Right.
Cool. Well, that wraps it up.
That's comics.
Everything we have for the week. We will be back on Monday. Monday, are we going to do the Harvey Awards? We're going to talk about Harvey?
Sure.
Okay. Monday, we'll be talking about the Harvey Awards. Next Wednesday, we'll be back for this again. And I think the following week, we'll probably do a monthly review. We didn't do one last month, did we?
No.
Nah. We'll probably do one this month. We'll see. We're here every Wednesday while the video comes out Thursdays. So come back and check us out next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, all the podcast stuff that we do.
And YouTube.
All sorts of places. There's YouTube and iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher and SoundCloud. And we're all over the place.
Just walk outside and throw a rock.
But it's all the same thing. If you do one, you don't need to do the others. Just to be clear. Yeah.